If you're someone who is feeling overwhelmed by all the choices that is there in front of you and you're feeling confused about what you're supposed to do, then today's video is for you. Hi, my name is Danya Ashokan. I'm a mindset coach and educator. If you'd like to learn more about how you can help yourself unlock your full potential and become the best version of yourself, then do follow along. In today's video, we are going to look at 3 powerful thought processes that can help you make better decisions and feel confident about the decisions that you're making. With that background, let's get started and jump right into today's video. The first method that I have for you guys today begins by you trying to gain as much information as you can about all the options that is there in front of you. Allow yourself some predefined time limit, maybe 1 hour or 2 hours, and do your research. Try to gain as much information from all the sources as much as you can about all the options that is there in front of you so that you are ready with all the information that you need. Once you have gathered all the information, take a few moments to tune in and visualize how each of those options are making you feel. Usually once we connect inwards or connect with our inner wisdom, the options become much more clearer and we are able to make better decisions really fast. And when you are visualizing each of those options in your mind, try to observe how they are making you feel and try to rate how much joy or how much excitement each of those options are making you feel on a scale of 1 to 10. The important point to be noted while you're visualizing is to prioritize your joy and not comfort. Because sometimes what is meant for our highest good might be slightly uncomfortable for us right now, but that'll take us to a much larger or much more powerful path that is right for us and that is perfectly aligned for us. But if we keep limiting ourselves and trying to stay within our comfort zone, we might also be saying no to those paths that is there for our highest good. So remember that sometimes it's okay for us to step out of our comfort zone and try to explore the different paths or the different opportunities that life brings us and see what brings us most joy and most excitement and follow those paths. So the first thought process is to simply try to gather as much information you can about the different options that is there in front of you. Then go ahead and do a mental rehearsal or visualization in your mind about you pursuing each of those different options and rate the joy and the excitement each of those options make you feel. So for example, you can use a rating scale of 10 and say that option A makes you feel about an excitement level of 8 out of 10, whereas option B makes you feel an excitement level of 10 out of 10, and then option C is probably less than 6 out of 10. Then it helps you see a clearer picture about how each of those options are making you feel and help you make a much more confident about the decision that you will be making. The second thought process is the pros and cons list. Now many of you might already be familiar with the pros and cons list, but let me explain to you why this is effective. When we actually list down the pros and cons about each of the options that we want to take, it helps us slow down our thinking and helps us see each of those options more clearly. So you would basically list down all the options that is there in front of you, and then for each of the options you would list down the pros and the cons. The pros would list down the reasons why you think you should be choosing that particular option, and the cons would list down the reasons why you think you should not be choosing that particular decision. So for each of the options you would list down the pros and the cons. And once you're able to see all of the options and the pros and the cons of each of those options on a paper clearly in front of you, it makes us see all the options and think more clearly and come up with better decisions and help us feel much more confident about the decisions that we are taking. The third thought process that I want to discuss with you today is a mindfulness based process. So in this process, what you need to do is to ask yourself whether you need to even make a decision. If this is actually an option A or option B problem, or if there's a possibility where you can have both option A and option B. Sometimes in our mind we actually make all of these problems as difficult choices that we have to make a choice between two options, but maybe it's a clear path where we don't have to even make a choice, where we can actually move forward with both of these options. So try and evaluate and see if it's actually even a problem where you need to make a decision between two options, or if there's a path where you can choose both options. And the second step in this process is to actually evaluate whether this is an reversible decision or an irreversible decision. Because sometimes we get really stressed because we think that a lot of decisions that we make in our life are actually irreversible decisions. But that is not really the case, right? Because sometimes we can actually move forward with a particular option and see if it works for us, and if it is not, we can just move forward with our life and then pick back our life from wherever we stand at that point and move forward with our life. So not all decisions in our life need to be irreversible decisions. Some of them are actually reversible decisions. So for example, if you're considering leaving your traditional 9 to 5 job to pursue your passion, it might actually feel like you are making a irreversible decision. But the truth is that at some point, if you feel that that particular passion is not working out for you, you can always go back to your job and try to build your career back with whatever you were doing previously. So not all decisions in our life need to be irreversible decisions. Another example for this is when you're considering moving to a different city or a different country for a job opportunity, and you think that this is an irreversible decision, but in reality that is not necessarily the case, right? After moving to a particular place, if you feel that that particular place is no longer working for you, you can evaluate the options that is there in front of you at that particular point and then choose then, right? You don't need to make every decision in your life irreversible. You can always give yourself the grace that if you need to come back and change your decision later in your life, you can always do that as well. Another example for this is that sometimes we take a lot of stress about whether we should be choosing a particular person as a life partner, and because we take so much stress, we are not able to take a decision at all. But sometimes if we can give ourselves the grace and allow ourselves to choose a particular person as a life partner, because that seems like the right option for us based on all the information that is available for us right now, and then move forward with that particular person. And if that works out, well and good, and if not, we can always move forward and build our life from wherever we are at that point. So not all of our decisions need to be irreversible decisions. At some point in our life, if we feel that that path is not working out for us, we are allowed to move forward and make a different choice for us based on the information that is available for us then. But for us, based on the information right now, we are allowed to move forward and make those decisions that make the most sense for us, and then give ourselves a grace to make mistakes as well. And allowing ourselves that grace and being so mindful about the decisions that we are making helps us feel much more confident about the decisions that we are making, and making sure that we are giving it our best shot to make sure that we are making that choice work. And remember, whenever you are facing a situation in your life when you need to make a really important decision, make sure that you're taking the time to make that decision. No matter what option we choose, we'll have to face the consequences of the option that we are choosing. So instead of choosing a particular option only because that is something that someone else told you that is the right option for you, make sure that you're taking the time to make sure that it is the right option for you. And make sure that you're gathering as much information as you can, and you're feeling confident about the decision that you're taking is very important, because you are the one who will have to face the consequences about the decision that you're making. And once you make a decision, remember to no longer look back and move forward confidently. The first part is about making sure that you're taking the right decisions, and the second part is all about making sure that the decision that you took, you're doing everything that you can to make it work. Because no matter what option you choose, there is no guarantee for your success in either of those options. Each of those options you will have to put in the effort that you need to, that you feel inspired to make it work. So make sure that you're giving it your 100% once you have made the decision, and make sure that you're doing everything that you can to make it work. And no matter what option you choose, you will face challenges. But what I found to be really helpful for myself is to go back to my pros and cons list and remember why I chose a particular decision. And remembering my why gives me the strength to keep moving forward. So these are the 3 thought processes that I have really found to be helpful for myself when I have to make important decisions. The first one is where you actually go around and gather as much information as you can about the different options that is there in front of you, and then mentally rehearse or visualize you living in each of those options and try to see how each of those options are making you feel. Rate the intensity of the excitement or joy they make you feel. Prioritize your joy and your growth and not your comfort. The second thought process is where you make a pros and cons list for each of those options and then try to see what makes the best sense for you based on the information available. And the third thought process is to actually evaluate whether you need to make a decision or not, whether it's option A or option B, or if there's a way where you can have both option A and option B and make it work, and try to see what makes the most sense for you. It's also helpful for you to evaluate whether these are actually reversible decisions or irreversible decisions. In most of the cases, we actually think that these are irreversible decisions, but in most of the cases, they are actually reversible decisions in our life. So I really hope you found today's video to be valuable in helping yourself make better decisions and feel much more confident about the decisions that you make. And if you found today's video to be valuable, do hit the like button below and subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Sending a lot of love, strength, and peace towards each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, take care and bye.